The curtain rises on the scene, with someone shouting to be free. The play unfolds before my eyes. There stands the actor who is me. The sleeping hours take us far from traffic, telephones, and fear. Put out your problems with the cat. Escape until the bell you hear. Our reasons are the same, but there's no one we can blame, for there's nowhere we need to go, and the only truth we know comes so easily. The sound I've heard in your hello, oh, darling, you're almost part of me. Oh, darling, you're all I'll ever see. It's such a rainy afternoon, no point in going anywhere. The sounds just drift across my room. I wish this feeling I could share. It's such a rainy afternoon. She sits and gazes from her window. Her mind tries to recall his face. The feeling deep inside her grows. Our reasons are the same, but there's no one we can blame, for there's nowhere we need go, and the only truth we know comes so easily. The sound I have heard in your hello, oh, darling, you're almost part of me. Oh, darling,
There's a band called Love, or there was a band called Love, which has got quite a similar sound to this. I've been trying to think of it for ages.
I've heard in your hello.
I've got the record here somewhere. Forever Changes, that's what it's called. Very similar to the sound.
This garden universe vibrates complete. Some we get a sound so sweet. Vibrations reach on up to become light, and then through gamma out of sight. Between the eyes and ears there lie the sounds of color and the light of a sigh. And to hear the sun, what a thing to believe, but it's all around if we could but perceive. To know ultraviolet, infrared and X-rays, beauty to find in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
2 notes of the chord, that's our full scope. But to reach the chord is our life's hope. And to name the chord is important to some. So they give it a word, and the word is...
I hope this noisy record isn't too distracting. I am very sorry, I have cleaned it, but it is really quite noisy.
I know why the skies all cry. Oh, oh,
Do you hear that swelling again? Wow. This is so different from the first album. Really interesting to hear this evolution. Such a noisy record. I think that Indian restaurants around the world have done us all a massive disservice by playing sitar music ad infinitum to every diner that comes in, and you are now conditioned to listen to the sound of a sitar and to think of it literally as sort of background music to eating your tikka masala or your chicken balti, and it's unfortunate because it's not that music, and I know it isn't. But it kind of puts you in the mind of being in an Indian restaurant. I imagine when this was first done, I know the Beatles used sitar as well, and it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? It's a tick. We've got this, got the sitar in for the contractual obligation psychedelic part in the thing. It is now a very overused trope. It's been used far too much. But back here in 1968, I imagine maybe one or two other records had ever had this sort of sound on it, and it was not a widely used sound in society. So it was very unusual, very fresh, very different. And I'm really trying to think of it in that way, but as I say, it's when I first listened, okay, so should we have a quick flick through the menu and decide what we're going to get here. I love the progression towards this end piece, the om, and it really did feel quite a spiritual thing. I'm just really rather annoyed at this record being so noisy as well. I'm terribly sorry about that. I had cleaned it beforehand. In fact, what I'll probably do is to clean it again after we finish filming this, and then I'll re-record the audio and see if it's any better, and try and just use it again that way. But overall, this is a really interesting record. As I've said several times, it is a stepping stone between the 60s and the 70s, between psychedelic pop and progressive rock, and it's a bridge that needed to happen. And these guys were certainly in the right place at the right time. Very earnest-looking fellows, aren't they? I've said this as well, and I know, obviously, it's about the music and not about personalities and stuff like that, but they really don't look like the sort of people that would be making psychedelic-y or spiritual progressive music. I mean, it's interesting, really interesting. They are very earnest and very serious-looking bunch of fellows with big moustaches and sideburns. But, you know, that's the time. Excellent stuff. I think, as I say, a video on the fashion of prog is going to be coming up very soon. Really enjoyed this. Really enjoying the journey of listening to the Moody Blues stuff, and I'm very, very keen to see where they go after this. And I did say, as we were listening to that, it reminded me very much of this record, Forever Changes by Love, which apparently came out the year before this. So I thought, perhaps these guys were sort of listening to the Moody Blues. Maybe the Moody Blues were listening to Love. So if you look at the back cover of this one, they look far more like a rock and roll band, don't they? There's far more much going on there. There's far more going on there. I think this might be worth a listen at some point on the channel. It's another one of these records from the era. Less innocent sounding, but I'm very keen to see how this evolves and goes, where it goes to, and what we're in for. They are one of the seminal architects of progressive rock, and we need to explore it to find out how they influenced the bands that came after and the foundations that were laid by the Moody Blues. How that then affected the music scene going forward. It's going to be a really interesting journey. So there we go. I shall leave it there, because this is getting on to be now another very long video. And I'll see you guys on the next video, whenever and whatever that is. And until then, this is Jim, over and out.